Russia is already carrying out its so-called peace plan. The occupiers launched another massive combined attack on Ukraine. My name is Albina Pidhirnyak. All the details are coming up next.
Давай, я
Ukraine's Air Force reported that last night the occupiers used 22 missiles of different types and more than 464 drones. Some of the Russian drones even entered the airspace of Moldova and Romania. Here is what the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, wrote on his Telegram about today's attack.
Right now in Kiev, our rescuers are working at the sites of the Russian strikes. The main attack last night was on the capital and the region, and many residential buildings and civilian infrastructure were damaged. At the moment, 13 people are known to be injured and, sadly, 6 people were killed. My condolences to their families and loved ones. There is damage in the Odessa region as well. Russia struck ports, food facilities, and infrastructure, targets with no military meaning. They also hit the Dnipro, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, and Cherkasy regions. The main targets were the energy system and everything that supports normal life. In total, Russia used 22 missiles of different types, including aeroballistic ones, and over 460 drones, most of them Russian-Iranian Shaheds. It is known that 4 drones flew into the airspace of our neighbors, Moldova and Romania, with exact times confirmed. This is why all partners must remember that lives must be saved every day. Weapons and air defense are crucial, and so is sanction pressure on the aggressor. There can be no pauses in support. What matters most now is that all partners move toward diplomacy together. Pressure on Russia must work. Thank you to everyone who stands with Ukraine.
I want to show you the pain our people are going through. People keep bringing flowers, candles and toys to the destroyed building in Ternopil to honor the memory of those who died under the rubble of the home Russia destroyed. A video appeared online showing Russians launching cruise missiles from Novorossiysk. In total, around 8 caliber missiles were fired. The launches were carried out by the missile carrier Admiral Essen.
There they are. The 8th went. Look, they are flying. Look, 8 missiles. Bam. Bam. Oh. And where are they? They just banged in one place. They all fell into one place.
You probably know what was launched to cover it.
Awesome.
Next, I'll show you a video recorded by eyewitnesses how a Russian missile hit an apartment building in the Russian city of Gelendzhik, a direct strike.
She's already flying high. She's roaring so loud.
In Taganrog, after a drone strike, an airfield is reportedly on fire, and the unique A-60 aircraft, a laser weapon carrier, and the aircraft Il-76 may have been destroyed. In addition, Novorossiysk was also hit at night. The area of a military unit with S-40 system came under attack. We have the video of the strike.
It flew here. Near the house, 2 or 3 times. In short, it gasped. Something caught fire. Shah Skinu.
Well, there is less. God.
A puff of smoke.
It's burning like that there. The glow is the same as after a nuclear explosion.
Lavrov came out to the journalist and started talking about how the agreements in Anchorage must be respected. It is unclear what agreements he means because Putin and Trump didn't mention any concrete agreements at the meeting.
And we expect from them a version that they consider intermediate in terms of completing the phase of agreeing on this text with Europeans and Ukrainians. Then we will look at this, because if the spirit and the letter of Anchorage are erased according to the key notions that we have captured, then of course the situation will be fundamentally different. But so far, I repeat, no one has officially handed over anything to us. So, Europe, when now they say, don't you dare do anything without us, you've already had a chance. Guys, you didn't take these chances, you just missed them. Macron today made the most aggressive statement that the only red line, that is, the only problem regarding Ukraine, is Russia and its demands. Russia is engaged in a strategic confrontation with the Europeans. We must prove that we will never surrender to the power that threatens us. He said that after the settlement, he plans to send troops to the area of Kiev and Odessa. Well, you know, just dreams that have nothing to do with a peaceful settlement.
Lavrov, as if agreeing with the US idea that Ukraine has published a so-called peace plan, started saying that Russia is not like that. They supposedly do everything quietly, and that part is actually true. The Russians quietly approached Vitkov, agreed on everything with him, and then slipped it to Trump.
We have permanent channels of communication with the Americans. President Putin, when assessing Donald Trump's peace plan, mentioned this. We do not hide this. But our diplomacy is used to working professionally. And professional diplomacy is, as I mentioned a little earlier, not to leak or allow leaks until a final agreement is reached. And those who represents diplomacy and politics in Europe, they are doing exactly the opposite. And there is only one purpose for these leaks, constant speculations, and the spread of rumors. In this case, that goal is to undermine Donald Trump's initiative in a way that replicates the understandings reached in Anchorage. They do not particularly hide it. And Rednose, Macron, and other figures, including the Brussels bureaucracy, we do not do this. We want to act as is customary for foreign policy officials. Negotiate confidentially before announcing what you have agreed upon. Any other approach means exposing useful initiatives to the risk of being taken by those who would like to undermine them. And they are doing this in the media space, including, as you know, using the media, well, including your corporation. There were such examples here recently. We have a different approach. As I have already said, there are channels, but we prefer to engage in diplomacy rather than talk about it in an attempt to provoke and undermine certain positive and promising initiatives.
Russia received a signal from the United States to meet and start discussing a peace plan for Ukraine, but there are no concrete agreements yet. This was stated by Ushakov according to Russian media. He also said that many points of the American plan are acceptable to Russia.
We were acquainted with one option, this one, which goes in the sense of the understandings that were reached in Alaska. And so many, I would say, not all, but many of the provisions of this plan, they seem quite acceptable to us. As for the other provisions, there are many. There are 28 points. These provisions, of course, require the most detailed discussion and consideration between the parties. But this issue has not yet been discussed with us. Yeah, as for the plans that are circulating, we just learned this morning about the European plan, which, so to speak, at first glance, is completely unconstructive and does not suit us. But Mr. Rubio, he announced that the Geneva talks with the Ukrainians were quite satisfactory to the American side. But he also said that there are 28 points, there are also 26 points. This is a lot of things, plus a lot of different speculations, and it is not clear who to believe. But we believe in what we saw, what was transmitted to us through the appropriate channels.
Ushakov also said that there is no concrete plan or meeting dates yet, even though the Americans supposedly initiated it.
I would proceed from the assumption that it would probably be natural to assume that the Americans will come to us in order to meet in person and start a discussion. So far, we know that there are certain signals in this regard, but no definite agreements have yet been reached on a meeting between Russian and American representatives. Because we have not yet received a specific proposal about who and when intends to come to Moscow.
Russia shows every day that it doesn't want peace because Putin's regime has been built on blood from the very beginning. We must endure and stand with Ukraine, support Ukraine, glory to Ukraine.